Hello, Abel Abelson here, writer of a few books, links in the description. And this video is another one in the series on common mistakes and pitfalls for intellectually gifted people. So in this video, I'd like to talk about overestimating and underestimating others. I know now that I have for a long time been overestimating most other people in the sense that they seem to go about with a certain ease and confidence and it's all very evident for them. So they do what I consider to be really risky stuff or really big decisions that have gigantic effects on many aspects and many years of their life. And they just go about it like this, like buying a house. Or like having children, stuff like that, starting alone, without really bothering much about whether 5 years from now they'll be able to pay it, how they're going to go about it when they lose their job. Maybe they want to, within a few years, quit their jobs and have a sabbatical, and how will they cope with their loans and their houses and stuff like that. They just go about it like this, and that's it. So, especially in the years before I even considered this possibility to be intellectually gifted, I felt at the same time impressed by them and beaten by them in many ways, in a sense that when they were 28, they already had a house and 2 children and a dog and 2 cars, while I would still be doubting who I was, what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go from here, what things meant in this universe, how society, this and that, environmental stuff, all these kinds of things. And I wouldn't even consider starting alone or buying a house, while all these things were all so confused and complicated in my head. So that gave a kind of loser feeling. Also, when you discuss with them, they just seem to be very sure of what they do. They seem to have, they just say, well, of course, and everybody does it, and it's the thing to do, and it's the right decision, while I would be seeing a lot of parameters and aspects that would make it not so very sure that this was the right thing to do. So frankly, in the end, I think a lot of times they're mistaken. And the simple thing is that they don't foresee their possible mistakes, and when these mistakes then really happen, they don't even see cause and effect. So neither before, nor during, nor after some minor or major disaster in their lives will they see how cause and effect were in play, and how it was for a big part their own decisions that led to this disaster. They'll either blame it on God, or on bad luck, or on something random, or on the other people, or on the politicians, or on whatever you want. And they won't learn from their mistakes either, for the same reason. So in that sense, I overestimated them. I was kind of fooled by their overconfidence, and a lot of people function in a kind of tribal way. If I would question something, they will look at each other and search for alliances and also get those alliances, and I will remain the outsider that they will push away with false arguments. But while this happens, and especially while I never even considered this intellectually gifted possibility, the effect it had on me was that something in me said, well, if they all think so, and they all do so, and they all think that they are right, well, something must be right in how they do things and how they think about things. At the same time, I also underestimated them, in the sense that I sensed that they weren't especially really smart, a lot of them. But what I didn't take into account is that they work in networks, and they also can be quite Machiavellistic and quite false. So you have a lot of people that are not very smart, not very talented, not very capable of a lot of things, yet they will have a lot of resources at their command, and they will have a lot of leverage, and they will succeed in getting things done the way they want them done. So finally, I did my IQ test. I got out intellectually gifted there. It made a lot of things happen in my vision on people and on the world, etc., etc. It especially confronted me with the reality of neurodivergence, as I call it. So the really structural differences in brains between individuals. And I started to observe people almost like a zoologist, like a scientist, knowing that I had always over and underestimated them, and that this time it was time to learn exactly how they function, exactly how they are, who they are, what they are, and then start from there. This was a major turning point in my life, and gradually things cleared up a lot, and it was much more easy for me to handle all these people. This is also why finally, recently, I published my book, How to Handle Neurotypicals. The neurotypical doesn't exist, but there's a lot of people who are like together in a pool of normality, relative normality, and it's important to understand how they function, because by sheer quantity they have a lot of influence, and it can be overwhelming. But if you know how they tick, if you know how to handle them, it's actually really easy, and life becomes really easy and fun. So if you're interested in that, check out my book, How to Handle Neurotypicals. The link is in the description. I'd love to hear your experience with overestimating and underestimating others, so leave that in the comments. A gigantic thank you to all those fabulous people that subscribe and like and share and stuff like that. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.